Fox News Senior Strategic Analyst and retired four-star General Jack Keane about this process and the potential threats that they will now face. General Keane, thank you for your time this morning ahead of time here. You know, we talk so much about the Taliban, but now there are reports of ISIS in the region, of ISIS in Kabul. Yesterday, we talked about al-Qaeda's increasing presence with the Haqqani network. This whole thing, General, just seems like it sits on a razor's edge. What are the growing threats?
Well, first of all, let me just say, I mean, the United States national honor is on the line here, and the whole world is watching. And what we're talking about is getting all of our Americans out and all of our Afghan partners out. And it's certainly a mistake to still have a date certain of 31 August. The declaration has got to be made to our own forces, to the State Department, and certainly to the Taliban, that we're going to stay here for as long as it takes to get our American citizens out and our Afghan partners. And you can either cooperate with us, Mr. Taliban, or not. But we are going to do this mission and complete it. We've already lost, Will, significant trust and credibility as a global leader in the world. I mean, the consequences, I think, are going to be felt for years to come as a result of this ill-conceived, hasty withdrawal, which set the date certain, which then robbed us of any opportunity to provide the necessary conditions to prevent a Taliban takeover and also to get our citizens out before we got out. And that is the heart of the problem that we've been trying to recover from in the last week or so, watching this disaster and debacle before our eyes. I'm convinced we have got to be determined about this and let people know that we're going to stay for as long as it takes to get the job done.
And, General, that message that we'll stay as long as it takes would be one that, I guess, would draw a line in the sand, project some strength, project some expectations for the United States of America. But then there's also this feeling, General, that we're under our own time crunch because, as I mentioned, the threats are growing. ISIS, al-Qaeda, and of course, the Taliban. So in the short term, there's the security threat that puts us under the gun, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. What's happening here with ISIS, the estimates before the takeover were somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 ISIS fighters. And who are these ISIS fighters? They're mostly Taliban guys who, when ISIS accomplished their mission and established in the Islamic State, which stunned the world back in 2014 in Syria and Iraq, you know, a lot of rebranding went on with radical Islamist groups, and ISIS, you know, became internationally celebrated.
Right.
So many of the Taliban guys moved and rebranded themselves as ISIS, one, thinking they're going to get some money, recruiting. And I think they probably, you know, identified even more with maybe the ISIS ideology than the Taliban one. But they're mostly Afghan guys, not exclusively that. But here's what happened. When the Taliban let everybody out of the jails, they let their own fighters. I'm talking about the detention centers where the terrorists were,
right.
Certainly there were jailhouses where criminals were as well. They let the Taliban guys out, but they let ISIS and al-Qaeda out. So there's hundreds of ISIS guys that are now back in the ranks. And given the fact that the military and the State Department is reacting like this, that means they have credible intelligence of a potential suicide attack, certainly at that airport. And that's the reason for this reaction. I do believe that we got to go outside and go get the people and bring them to the airplanes if that's necessary. We certainly have the capability to do that. We just have to find the will to do it.
That seems to be in short supply right now, General Keane, at least as a political calculation, if not obviously as a military calculation, as a political calculation. Will is in short supply right now, it appears. General Keane, thank you for getting up with us this morning and sharing your insight.
Yeah, great talking to you, Will. Take care.
You too.